Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today's video I'm going to be doing the Greatest Showman book tag. This is a book tag that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I thought of the idea a few months ago, but then I looked up and saw that there were already Greatest Showman book tags on YouTube, so I decided to watch a few of them. The one that I'm actually doing isn't the very first Greatest Showman book tag that was created, but it was the first one that I watched and I really liked the questions. I have watched the other ones and they were good as well, but I decided to do this one because it was the first one I watched and I could actually come up with books for the questions, so I'll leave a link for this one in the description box for you. So there is a question that goes with each of the songs from the Greatest Showman soundtrack, and I've chosen a book in answer for each of them, so let's just get into it. The first song in the film is The Greatest Show, and this is one of my favourites. I just think it's so exciting and is a great start to the film. And the question that goes with this one is a book that is the best you've read and gave you all the feels. So the book I chose for this one was The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. I've spoken about this book in quite a few videos now. I absolutely adore this. I'll leave a link in the description box for you to the video where I talk about this in a little bit more detail. It was included in my best books of 2017, so if you want to find out more about it you can go and watch that. But this is one of the best YA books I've ever read. It's one of my favourite books of all time now and I would definitely recommend it. The next song is my absolute favourite from the whole film, and that is A Million Dreams. I just love the lyrics for this song, and if I could choose just one song from the soundtrack to put on repeat over and over again, it would definitely be this one. So the question that goes with this song is a book that left you dreaming about it after you finished it. For this one I chose Hold Back the Stars by Katie Kahn. This is another one of my all-time favourite books. It's about two people who are stuck in space with only 90 minutes of oxygen left, and although I did have dreams about it, it wasn't about me being stuck in space. I just found that a lot of my dreams after I finished this book involved stars or space travel, and that happened for about a week after I finished this book. Like I said, none of them were actually about me being stranded in space with no oxygen left, so there weren't any nightmares, they were just dreams. The next song is Come Alive, and the question is a book where a character finally accepts themselves. I actually found this question quite difficult to answer, but in the end I went for the book Sunflowers in February. There are quite a few characters that I could talk about in terms of acceptance with this book, but I'm going to focus on the main character, Lily. Now, although what I'm about to say sounds like a spoiler, it's actually not because it's written on the back cover. At the beginning of this book, Lily wakes up at the side of the road not knowing how she got there, and then she sees her own body and realises that she's dead. So in terms of acceptance, you could say that this book focuses on Lily accepting that she's been killed, but this acceptance can also be related to her family as they come to terms with the fact that they have lost a daughter and a sister. The next song is The Other Side, and that is a book or character that changed your opinion on them. For this question, I went with the character of Snape in the Harry Potter series. Now, I loved the character of Snape from the very first book, even though he was supposed to come across as kind of a villain. But by the end of the series, you find out a lot more about Snape and why he acts the way he does towards Harry. So even though I liked Snape from the very beginning, it definitely changes your opinion on him. And the next song is Never Enough, which is also one of my favourites, and if I could sing, I'd definitely be singing this one all the time. The question that goes with this one is, what is an author or book series that you can never get enough of? I mean, did you even have to ask me that question? Obviously, my answer is Sarah J Maas, especially the Court of Thorns and Roses series. This is my absolute favourite series of all time. I will never be able to get enough of this book series in terms of the world and the characters and the story. I just love them. And I am extremely excited for A Court of Frost and Starlight that comes out on the 1st of May. I wanted to try and reread these books before A Court of Frost and Starlight came out, but I don't think I'm going to have time. Maybe I'll listen to the audiobooks. But if you haven't read these books, then you need to read them. The next song is probably the most iconic one from the film, and that is This Is Me. And the question for this one is a book that you love despite others hating it. The book that I've chosen for this is The Sky Is Everywhere, and that's not to say that everyone hates this book. I do know people that like it, but I absolutely loved this book, and then when I was looking at reviews when I first read this, there were a lot of negative ones. I've just heard quite a few people say that they didn't particularly like this book. I don't know what it was about it, whether it was the writing, the story, the characters, whatever it was, but I really enjoyed this book. Also, how can you not love a book when it has a beautiful cover like this one? Although I should mention that this was a WH Smith exclusive and I don't believe that this one is available anymore, so sorry if you suddenly want this book cover now. The next song is another one of my favourites, and that is Rewrite the Stars. For this one you need to choose a bookish OTP that have to overcome a lot to finally be together. I actually found this question the most difficult one to answer because I wanted to use books that I'd already mentioned, so I wanted to choose a different one. So although they don't overcome a lot and it's not a serious amount of things to overcome, I went for Billy and Me by Giovanna Fletcher. So the main thing that they have to overcome in this book is being in the spotlight. Billy is a famous actor, and when Sophie gets into a relationship with him, she's suddenly thrust into the spotlight as well. It's something that she's quite uncomfortable with, but she's trying to get used to it. There are just incidents in this book where people are saying things to Sophie that make her feel uncomfortable and a little bit unwanted, and also she goes to watch Billy on set one day when he is filming, and that makes her very uncomfortable as well. So the obstacle is really Billy's fame, and it's about her having to come to terms with the fact that if she wants to be with Billy, then something that she's going to have to try and get used to. And the next song is Tightrope, and the question that goes with this is an author or book series that gives you trust issues. For this one I went with author Colleen Hoover, and the main reason for this one is her book It Ends With Us. Now this is one of my favourite books of all time, and I fell in love with Colleen's writing because of this book, but I felt so many emotions while reading this. I literally felt like my heart had been ripped out by the time I'd finished it. I cried quite a few times whilst reading this book, but by the time I'd got to the end of it I was a complete sobbing mess. I've only read a few of Colleen's books and they are all amazing, but they just make you feel so much. I'm definitely going to be reading more by Colleen Hoover, but it's just whether I can trust her books with my heart. Honestly, I thought I was going to be in such a bad reading slump after finishing It Ends With Us because I was such a mess. And the final song again is one of my absolute favourites, and that is From Now On. The question for this song is a book that you've ignored for so long and finally need to read. For this one I picked Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I was given this book as a gift almost a year to the day by my mum last Easter. I was so desperate to read this book after I first heard about it from Hayley in Bookland. I wanted to read it as soon as it came out, and I got given it as a gift and I still haven't read it. I definitely need to pick this up soon because it's becoming a bit of a joke that I've had it for that long and still haven't read it. So those were all of the questions for this book tag, and I do just need to say, if you haven't been to see The Greatest Showman yet, then you need to. I've been to see this film 4 times now, I believe, and one of them was a sing-along version. I just don't believe that anyone can go into this film and not come out feeling happy. Even people that I know that don't like musicals have come out and told me they absolutely love it. And I know so many people as well that have been to see it more than once. If you have seen the film or you've listened to the soundtrack, then do let me know what your favourite song is. I'm really interested to know. Leave your favourite song in the comments down below, or you can message me through any of my other social media platforms. I will leave all of the links in the description box for you. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you again next week with another video. Bye!